You are babbling.
Babbling brook.
Hi, I'm Mark Waid, writer of Superman, Batman, World's Finest, Teen Titans, Kingdom Come, Captain America, Daredevil. I guess I could be here a while. And you're here watching Splash Pages.
Is the one obvious thing.
Hey, stop it!
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leon. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an amazing show scheduled for you. I'm so excited. This is going to be a fun one. Without further ado, Carrie, how's it going?
Doing well. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Splash Pages. It is Tuesday night. Got me and Ratatosker here, getting really excited. I read so much for this guest. You guys are going to have a blast.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you read. Jar Jar!
Woohoo! I'm a little tense, so I'm a little I don't want to. I feel like I might drop the ball on this one. I don't know.
Deep breaths.
All right. Well, let's quickly get over to Drew and get this thing going.
Oh, it's me. Hi, I'm Drew. Well, you're on Splash Pages. We have a superb guest here, and as you can tell, we have everybody here literally quite sitting on their feet. That makes no sense, so I'm just going to continue working with it, and hopefully it will make sense. We have an amazing writer on. He's done so much that I'm sure you've read something in his career. Flash, Kingdom Come, other things, Marvel, DC, Boom Studios, all of that. He's great humored. He's a truly amazing person to meet at a convention, as I've met him twice already, and each time was awesome. Everybody, the one, the only, Mr. Mark Waid.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, Mark?
Yeah, please hold your applause. So,
totally. Oh, I have to tell you, your work on World's Finest, holy crap. I am loving it.
Thank you. It's my favorite thing in the world to write. And working with Dan Moore just makes it even better.
Oh, totally. Holy crap. Yeah, it's like I'm so mad at myself for sleeping on this. I just
Same.
When I heard you were doing the Kingdom Come story in it, that's when I started picking it up. I'm through the first 2 trades right now, and I think I have like 10 issues to go to get caught up. Absolutely loving it so far.
Great. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Leo having a little fanboy moment.
I know. We thought it would just be for Lee Bermejo, but no, apparently Mark Waid on the list. So you're welcome, buddy. So doing the research, we tried finding a few things to talk about. I was like, he's been working so much in comics. A few. So I had one question because thank you to Wikipedia. when you first started Adventure Comics, the Legion of Superheroes by Jim Shooter and Mort Weismer, who brought up Mordru, you said that was like the blueprint of everything you write.
I said once in an interview 30 years ago, and for some reason it's not untrue, but it follows me around. I hate the fact the main thing on my entire Wikipedia page, and I would change it if they allowed people to change your own Wikipedia page. So if one of you wants to jump in, feel free.
God damn it, I'm sorry.
Get it, Drew.
No. You're not mad at you. I'm just. There is some truth to that, though. I mean, I think that there is a structure that Jim Shooter, as a kid, brought to the Legion of Superheroes in the 1960s that was a beautiful hybrid of what DC was doing at the time and what Marvel was doing at the time. And I just drank that stuff up.
Okay.
How did you first get into comics? Like, you're such a legend now. Like, where did it all begin for you? Were you a reader as a kid?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it really began when I was like 3, and my dad brought home some Batman comics because of the Batman TV show with Adam West.
Very cool.
It just never stopped. I mean, I was a DC boy all throughout the 60s as I was growing up, and then found Marvel Comics in the 70s and had my mind blown by that. And I've never stopped. I've never stopped reading. I've never stopped buying.
Very cool. Well, it's still buying today.
Yeah.
That's great. We talk to so many so many creators that just get burnt out by the reading. They read their own stuff, but
yes, and those guys are going to be, fossilized dinosaurs in 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying you need to read every crappy superhero comic out there, but there's a lot of really good stuff going outside DC and Marvel
absolutely
in graphic novel form, and you're just cheating yourself if you're not reading it and looking for new techniques, new ways of telling stories. One of my great joys about being the publisher of Humanoids for a few years was working with graphic novels from overseas that were structurally nothing really like, stylistically nothing like what we do over here, and just picking up a little thing here or there as a storyteller.
Speaking of reading, so Justin's asking, are you reading TMNT, maybe The Last Ronin?
Here's the thing. I'm old. So I'm after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sort of date after me. By that time, I was a grown-up. So it didn't I don't have the same emotional connection to that stuff. My emotional connection to the characters stops at about 1978. And I'm not saying that characters created after that aren't awesome. Ms. Marvel is terrific. Firestorm is great, but I think every one of us on this podcast and everyone listening to it has that pocket of time when you're a kid where it's just so magical and you're just so into this stuff in the most innocent way. And so, my remit is from the mid 60s to the late 70s, and I read everything after that, and there's some great comics out there for after that. But I'm just saying, once I became a college student, I didn't really have the same emotional connection to these characters.
Okay.
Understandable.
You just mentioned the Humanoids, and I read the Ignition and the Ignited and Strangelands and Omni.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they were all wonderful. I know you only wrote Ignited, but you were the creative director for the other two, and you really are good. I read a lot of your other stuff from like Boom, and I read some smaller stuff. By the way, The Unknown. I need more, please.
We'll get back. We'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to that.
Got it.
Yay.
Don't manage your expectations, but keep going.
But you have a trend that I saw in some of those, and I think that was part of the company too, where the humans are just the villains and everything. Just humanity as a race, destroying the planet was a huge theme for those.
Yeah.
And but I really like, you came up with some really interesting, like the origami paper girl and stuff. You came up with some real great superpowers in writing those. So was it a whole company type? From what I could gather reading humanoid stuff, it was almost kind of political movement, but
oh yeah, I mean it was less so before I came aboard. Those books had already sort of been developed. Ignited was the one that was the least fleshed out. It was just, here's a bunch of characters, do something. And I saw this as my opportunity to lean heavily into the political situation, because it's about kids dealing. The cards I were dealt were a bunch of kids in the school shooting have this transformative moment that they go home from this and they are just, something in them kicks up, some power, some ability. I'm not saying that you have to be at a school shooting to have a superpower at all.
Right.
You get what I'm saying. This is like their body reacting to this, and so the beauty of writing those characters is that they didn't all have to be politically good guys necessarily, or politically bad guys. I mean, I feel very strong feelings about school shootings. I have very, very strong feelings about gun control in this country and the lack of it. And being able to write a bunch of teenagers who were in that pocket of time as high school students, being able to use abilities to really strike back at the atmosphere, the society that gives us, that facilitates that kind of nonsense. But the fun thing about that, fun is a relative term, but the thing about writing that though was these kids weren't always right. Some of them spoke with my voice sometimes, but sometimes they didn't, because people are complicated, and teenagers are especially complicated. So they were anti-heroes to some degree.
Right.
Yeah, and you just did an amazing job with that, because it played out how when people are like, these are, and the story, the letters and stuff, the introductions to other people who'd been involved,
that was something I pushed hard for. I realized that we should be doing, and we did. We incorporated text pieces in every issue that were pieces written from people who had gone through school shootings.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow, that's pretty deep.
And it showed the people who were like, oh, this was fake. This was, they had actors in because somebody goes missing. Some of them do, and the radio people, and then the other, we're going to protect you. We're showing.
Wasn't it great how much they made him pay?
It was just so beautiful to see you pull in, because it's real. It's happening, right? That is what's happening.
Right, and you're not going to see that in a Marvel or DC comic because they're corporate owned, and they have to protect those characters, and they have to, be careful not to rise up a big part of their audience base and make them angry. I get it. So the beauty of being able to work with Ignited and being able to work with humanoids was to be able to go off book a little bit and not have to tamp down my own political activist soul.
I like that. I just wanted to thank you for writing those, because those were.
Well, thank you for. I'm glad that meant something to you. Thank you.
What's the creative process like when you're doing, like, do you research a lot of the school shootings and stuff, and how's that on your psyche? Like,
it's not great. Again, that book ended a couple 3 years ago now, right? So we did like 10 issues, I think, altogether. But yeah, there was a lot of talking to people who'd been through school shootings. There was a lot of reading up on school shootings. I didn't take it lightly. I mean, I realized that this would be a really easy subject to screw up and be callous about. So I did my homework.
Right.
Oh yeah, you did.
On another note, something else I realized is that at one point you were an editor. So and you started that when DC and whatnot, and you worked. You were one of the people who was kind of helped usher in Elseworlds, you know. And I guess the thing is that you have that, and then you did your phenomenal 8-year run, which I finally have read all of, and that was totally awesome. I've never really been too big of a Flash fan. Reading all that run, I was like, I get it.
Thank you.
And it's just phenomenal. But and then what is it like when looking back on it, these things that are considered iconic to a character or just these legendary moments in comics, and you're like, I was just doing the story. That sounded like a good idea. Like, what is that like looking back on it? Like
that really is it. I mean, it's, one of the biggest frying pan in the face moments I ever had was when we were working on Kingdom Come, and we knew it would be something a little special, but didn't really. And I had not finished writing the 4th issue until the first issue came out. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, at the reaction, and it paralyzed me. I mean, it actually gave me severe writer's block for like 3 weeks, staring at the script going, I have flop sweat. Oh my God, they're expecting so much out of this. And that was one of the few times when I was in the middle of something that I felt like had fire. But as a general rule, you just put your head down and you tell the best stories you can, and you look back and you realize, your batting average is pretty good.
Yeah. And Kingdom Come for me, Kingdom Come is one of the few comics I ever read that the ending actually made me cry. I was like, holy cow, this is just. But and it's funny because I had the 4 issues and I brought it. I remember I had met you at Boston Comic-Con like years ago. I think it was like 2014 or something. And I think you said you had made a joke that every year you think you've signed every official copy.
And somebody finds one.
Somebody finds one, or they reprint it. You're like, well, okay. I mean, but it was all good humor. And I think if I've ever said to anybody, I was like, these are the top 5. You read these, you will understand what comics can do. And Kingdom Come is always there. And so just that was mine. Leo, what do you have?
So I don't want to spoil it because I haven't gotten it to that point yet, but I know you just brought in Kingdom Come into the world's finest.
Yeah.
And I know with Flashpoint, was brought back into canon throughout the Tom King or Tinian run?
Tinian. I think Tinian.
One
of those. Yeah,
I think it was Tom King. It was between the two of them. It started. Yeah. Well, anyway, so Flashpoint was brought in, and I think a couple other Elseworlds, like they're trying, like Killing Joke with 3 Jokers and everything, trying to bring that into the mainstream. Mm-hmm. What was your thought process? Bringing Kingdom Come, into, because World's Finest is, from what I understand, it is canon, correct? It's not.
It's absolutely. It is. All of it is, this happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's set in the not too distant past, so that we can, and this was the request of editorial, so we can tell stories about the classic versions of those characters without having to worry about modern continuity in the sense that, when I took the book on, Superman was in space for a year and, Bruce had no money. And so that wouldn't have been a very fun Superman and Batman book to write. So, it's all set in the past. I didn't barrel into this starting the series thinking, I want to go back to the Kingdom Come world, but I knew I wanted to tell the story of Boy Thunder, which was the second arc we had, which is the one about Superman having a sidekick for the first time. And that was actually a bullet I had in the chamber for 25 years because it was at one point going to be our sequel to Kingdom Come.
Right.
It was something that DC had asked Alex and I to see if we could create something that was an ongoing series. Mm-hmm. Alex would be able to paint it, but we would be able to work back and forth. And that was the idea that rose. And it just didn't happen for a million different reasons. But I've been wanting to tell that story. So obviously, when we tell that story and we tie it to Kingdom Come in that way, then we need to go back to that Kingdom Come world at some point. Mm-hmm. The trick was to not write it as a sequel to Kingdom Come because that is a recipe for disaster. That is a guaranteed disappointment.
Never seems to go well. I'm sure he'll be right back.
Yep. There we go.
And we'll take a commercial break. And wonderful. And we're back with Mark.
Okay.
So, oh man, I just got all goofed up in my head because of that. What would you consider one of your favorite storylines that you've done that you would say, hey, if you really want to know my writing, you should check this out?
Superman Birthright, like full stop. That's
so good.
Maybe my favorite thing I ever wrote, because it's my love letter to Superman. It's like, here's the keys to the car, retell the origin from a 21st century standpoint, and find some way to deal with some of the things that we take for granted with Superman. Just that show us why we shouldn't take these things for granted.
And on top of it, you had Lionel Yu as the artist. I mean, the 12 issues of just super. Like, we're all Lionel Yu fans here. Anytime he puts out a cover for Marvel, we're like, God, that's great.
First time I ever saw his work, I was standing in the Marvel offices, and somebody had original art pages from whatever his first gig was, and I looked at it and I called him and I said, we're going to work together at some point. And when Superman Birthright came about and they were casting for artists, there were some very good names put on the table, but all of them had drawn Superman somewhere at one point or another. And I wanted somebody whose Superman was not familiar to you.
Right. Yeah. And I will say this, I'm a so Superman fan, but I, for some reason, love collecting his origin stories, and we've read a few of them. And I had Birthright, and Birthright's ending. Yes. Yeah, but Birthright's ending. I mean, I have John Byrne's Man of Steel. I have your Birthright. I have Superman for All Seasons, which I always consider as an origin by Jeff Loeb and the late great Tim Sale. But your ending for Birthright, I mean, wow.
Thanks.
What a super gut punch. I was like, God, that's great.
That's one of those rare times when I had the ending first and went backward to get there.
Nice. How's that to work? That's got to be more like comforting to yourself. Be like, I already know where I'm going with this.
It is. I mean, it happens rarely, but a lot of times with my creative process, and I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but my creative process is just sitting until an idea for an image pops into my head. What is an interesting thing that we've never seen before? How would we not, what would be a good moment of emotion here? I'm not even thinking about story at that point, only in the most general terms. And then as I start to come up with another piece and another piece, I start to see how they, like a jigsaw puzzle, how they all start to come together. For me, writing a story is like doing a jigsaw puzzle, turning one piece over at a time.
That makes sense. It's revealed. That's kind of cool. It's almost being revealed to you as you tell this story.
It's the fun part to me. I mean, I have done gigs and stories where I have outlined very heavily and know the story beats going in, and I get bored when I actually write the thing. The fun part for me is making it up as I go.
Right.
When it comes to puzzles, I'm going to drag you back to Boom, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I said I read a bunch for you. I did The Traveler. That was mind-bogglingly trying to wrap my head around that, but gorgeous work, guys. If you haven't read it, read it, as well as Potter's Field. And as I mentioned earlier, I want to bring you back to The Unknown, because you said that you had something else to mention about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's manage your expectations. You'll probably never see any more of it, because Mink Oostevere, the artist who I work with on it, the co-creator, not too long after we finished the second series, died in a freak motorcycle accident. It's a very young man. And it doesn't feel right. I mean, I may change my mind somewhere down the road, but it's never felt right to go back there without. So,
wow.
That may be all you ever get.
I managed my expectations, and still I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
It is that I understand that entirely. I just want you to know that is one of, like, not just in comics, that is one of the most amazing supernatural mystery setups and concepts that I've ever read. And it's not just the idea, you write it so well.
Thank you. It's rare that I get the chance to demonstrate to people, look, I can write more than superheroes. I can write Archie comics and make you laugh. I can write Potter's Field, which is a procedural. I can write, The Unknown, which is like you said, a supernatural mystery story, and it's fun.
And bring also back to Boom Studios, one of my favorites that you did there was Incorruptible, the spin-off of your other series, Irredeemable, which was essentially another kind of evil Superman-ish. But I absolutely love Max Damage doing the thing, and just the whole series. I mean, I own all of it, and you graciously have signed all of it, so thank you. It's just what a great series, and I every time I read it, I just keep thinking, God, if I ever see this at a con, I would just say, I know who you are, and I hope Mark Waid does, because I know it's going to make his day. Because just, so good.
Yeah, for those who are listening and don't know, my Keystone series at Boom was Irredeemable, which, again, What If Superman Broke Bad, but much deeper than that. I would like to think it's easy to tell that story. It's much more interesting to tell the story of, okay, why would this happen to somebody, and what would happen to somebody with these powers, really? And then Incorruptible was the flip side. Incorruptible was, okay, well, one of the world's great villains realizes that the world's being torn up by the Plutonian, and he's gone berserk, and I guess I gotta be the hero here.
Yep. He tries. He tries very well.
He tries.
He does. No, but it's just, oh man, what a series. But
how do you stay so creatively motivated over the years? Like, you've been in comics now for what, 40 years? Yeah, I was gonna say over 35. Like, wow. Where does it all come from?
A lot of it is just continuing to tap my love of these characters, and the fact that I feel like with most of the DC characters in particular, I feel like I've got some angle on them that maybe you've never thought about before, or some facet of their personality, or something about how their powers work, or something that I want to show you. It is not always easy to stay motivated. And again, I don't mean to suddenly take a left turn and we go down with this, but we'll pick up after this, so it's not a complete down. But
they're good.
One of the real challenges in the last 6-7 years has been realizing that you're writing about superheroes whose values and morals are not shared by as many people as you thought they were. And that has been a real impediment sometimes to me getting out of bed, creatively speaking. It's hard because how can you read these comics? As a kid, and not understand the message? And how can you claim to love these characters as an adult, and yet completely miss the mark when it comes to what they stand for and what they champion? And
100%.
And it gets under my skin sometimes, and it does sometimes make it a little difficult. I was talking about this last night to a friend. I said that to some degree, the appeal of the job has always been, I love living in the real world, but it's fun to go live in Metropolis for a little while. And I have concluded maybe one of the reasons I'm doing so much work right now is because I kind of need to live in Metropolis a little bit more than here for the time being, until things settle down. I don't know. And with that,
it's a tough life out there right now.
Yeah. And with that, somebody asked a question that is happier than that.
So this is a little similar though. So Justin's asking, what do most people miss about Superman as a character?
First off, that kindness is not synonymous with weakness, which makes me berserk. It's not just, I don't care how hard he can punch stuff. That's not what we're reading Superman stories to find out. I think that what people miss about Superman is that you really just have to suspend your disbelief, maybe more than you do with some more popular characters, maybe more than you have to do with Batman, or maybe you have to do with more than you would have to do with the Marvel characters. But with Superman, the buy-in is that he does the impossible. The buy-in is that he doesn't screw up. No, the buy-in is that while he may not be perfect, he will always find a way to make things right. And it's just part of the magic of the character. And you can't, the moment you start making him more real, quote unquote, the moment you Zack Snyder him up, then you've lost that character. You've lost the essence of that character. It's just, I don't need Superman. I don't need to know what Superman would be like if he was more like us. Superman's purpose exists so that we can be more like Superman.
Oh, well said.
Thank you.
And, Leo, I think I might need some tissues. Do you have a box? that was beautiful. Like,
thank you.
My Gotham heart just iced over just a little bit, just a little frosty here. It's actually funny because it's Leo. Funny that you brought that up because I remember reading an article that Jason Aaron, who's working on Action Comics briefly for Bizarro, said that he was like, "No, I'm doing Superman. I got to talk to Mark Waid. I got to pick his brain about what I'm doing because if anyone knows, it's that guy." And I was like, "Good call, good call."
That was very kind of Jason to say that.
How much fun is it to do?
Honestly, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, Carrie, you were saying something? No, I guess not.
Okay. Go for it, Mark.
I was going to say that Jason's being too kind. I mean, we do talk about Superman a lot, but he didn't need my help. Really, it was just fun to hear what he wants to do. And, if he wants my blessing, he's got my blessing. I mean, he doesn't need it. But I love what he's doing in Action Comics. We have a kinship, not just because we're writers and not just because we're both from Alabama, but more specifically, he's from Jasper, Alabama, which is a little tiny town on about midway between Birmingham and Tupelo, Mississippi. And we used to drive, I think, literally by his house all the time when I was a teenager and he was, probably a 5-year-old boy playing in the front yard. I probably saw Jason more than once as we were going through Jasper. The end. That's the story.
Great story.
Just real quick to keep it on Superman.
Yeah.
Really? No way.
Yeah.
Who drew the picture you have behind you, and what is your favorite storyline or art? One of your favorite arcs of Superman.
Okay, so 2-part question. Okay, yep. So this was a painting made for DC Comics by a pulp magazine painter called H.J. Ward, named H.J. Ward. He was quite famous back in the day, quite good, and he did this painting. Literally not this painting, but he did. You know what I mean. It was tweaked a little bit by an artist named Stan Kay to look a little bit more like Superman in the face. And then it hung in the DC offices for, 20 years or whatever. And then one day it just went missing. And it stayed missing for something like 30 years. And then one day, someone in the library at Ohio in Cleveland stumbled across it in the back room somewhere. No one knows how it got there. No one knows why, but they were able to unearth the thing and find it again. They made some prints of it in the 1970s, which is what you're looking at over my shoulder.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Story.
So that's that. My favorite Superman storyline, it goes back and forth. So any day you ask me this, you might get a different answer. But today, I would say that funnily enough, it's not in comics. It is actually a couple of prose novels that were written by a man named Elliot S. Magan, who wrote Superman in the 70s. And Elliot also wrote 2 prose novels about Superman. One's called Last Son of Krypton, and the second one, which is even better, is Miracle Monday. And those 2 books, I think, define Superman for me better than anything else I've ever read. I just love those stories, and I highly recommend. They're still in print. I highly recommend you seek them out if you're at all into Superman.
Leo,
Last Son of Krypton's the one about the destruction of Krypton, right?
And then Miracle Monday is basically Superman versus Satan, basically.
Sweet.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. I'll check them out. Thank you.
So I want to stay on the whole what the message you're trying to now put out in comics, like not like a secret message or anything like that, but like the kind of like stories that you want people to take away after and be like, the good guys won. This is what we were going for here. And what are you doing now?
I think that if there's a commonality to my work, I think that the two things you'll find is that they're very emotion heavy, and they're all about how people feel, and they're all about when I first started writing comics, I thought that a really clever clockwork plot, like was, perfectly refined, was the way to go. And I was an idiot. That's just like doing a Sudoku puzzle. I mean, you're very clever, but nobody comes to read stuff for clever plots. That's not the part they remember. What they remember are the emotional parts. And so that's a big part of, I think, my work. The other part is, and I think this is a message of sorts, is that I am a big fan of writing stories where you win because you're smarter and more clever, and not because you hit harder.
I like that.
Smart. Nice. So
I was just reading. Oh.
No, Carrie, you go.
Go for it, Carrie.
Go for it, Carrie.
Oh, another thing I was reading was Brave and the Bold. And so when you're talking about with the plots and stuff, all the stuff with the Book of Destiny, and then you just have to have so much fun writing that, because you're just like, who am I going to pick out of the thing today to pair up with, random roll the dice.
Right.
You made some great partnerships.
Right. Which obscure DC character do I love that I can spend time showing you why I love them in hopes that you will love them too? Yes, that's what Brave and Bold was all about. And that's a large part of what the World's Finest book is about too. We pull in guest stars right and left because, I think, Metamorpho is a cool character. Let me show you why I think he's a cool character.
What was your favorite combination to write in those? Like just grabbing out of the mix, and then how it turned out when you finished it?
That's a really good question. Flash and the Doom Patrol, I think, because they just don't belong together in the least. But it was a good story. And I think, that was fun. Teaming up Wonder Woman and Power Girl was also a lot of fun, because the whole point of that was to show you why they are different.
Mm-hmm.
I
gotta say, mentioned Supergirl and Lobo.
Yeah,
he loved that one.
You mentioned Metamorpho. I've heard you are quite a fan of Metamorpho.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, the way I've gone on about Metamorpho in the last year, you would think that he's my favorite DC character of all time. So you were going to say, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, well, I was going to say, what about Metamorpho do you like, and what are your thoughts on Anthony Kerrigan being cast to play him?
What picture is just chef's kiss casting on that? I mean, my God.
Look at that! You got Mark Waid's blessing, people.
Yeah, you go. Boom, done.
God. It's one of the things I like about Metamorpho is that you have to be clever, because his power is not he can turn into anything. He can transform into any element. The power of Metamorpho is that what happened to him was that radiation scrambled him and scrambled his genetic structure, so that he's still got all the stuff that we have in us chemically, organically in our bodies, but it's all over the place. And so he can only become things that are in the human body, which I've done my science research. There's like 20 elements that are heavily found in the human body. There's a few other trace elements, but he can't turn into uranium. He can't turn into plutonium, not only because that's not in the human body, but also because that's really stupid, because if he could turn into plutonium, he could win every single fight.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
going around being like, I'll give you cancer.
Right. So in other words, what I like about writing Metamorpho is that it forces me to be clever and do my chemical research, do my chemistry homework.
That's awesome.
What's one of the more difficult characters you've written?
There are a couple that I can't get a handle on, and that's not a fault of the character. It's that I don't respond to them in any way. Thor is one. Thor's probably the best example. I think Thor's a great character, but I was a science kid. I was a big science whiz, and I was a physics minor in college, and I was never one for ancient mythology. I think it's awesome, but it's not for me. And so characters like Wonder Woman, characters like Thor, characters like that rely very heavily on ancient mythology just don't speak to me. And I can't find my way into Thor. I bet if I thought hard enough, I might be able to. Wonder Woman's equally difficult. I mean, we managed to do okay with her in Kingdom Come, but I don't know that if you handed me the Wonder Woman series to write, that I would do a good job.
Some of us would probably beg to differ, but
well, one thing that I especially want to bring up is that I in reading a lot of your work over time, and primarily, and I can best example is Daredevil, is that your sense of humor about the characters has been always great. Like I remember, like what was it? I think it was during one of your Spider-Man arcs. You had a story where Peter was running out of clothes and he had to wear this horrible sweater while he was running to the street. And there's anybody who saw him, like one person's like, "Oh my eyes, why?" Like what is it? And even like Daredevil, which we read a nice chunk of before he came on. Like I have, again, I've only read some Daredevil, and I've always credited yours as being really one of my favorites. The humor, the humor primarily, the action, your artistic creators, all phenomenal. But there was just always this joke. Like I was just talking to Carrie before the show that I love. What was it? The lawyer and him have that whole back and forth where she's like, "You're Daredevil." He's like, "I'm not Daredevil."
No, I'm not.
Just all these things.
No.
I think it was that she had "Your Daredevil" written on her bra, and he's like, "Nope, can't say anything," and just snapped the pencil. I was like, "This is great."
It's humor comes from character. I mean, it's harder to write humor in comics than you think, but it's really important. I'll tell you what. It's harder to write to write well, because if you're doing it badly, it's just banter back and forth between characters, and it's clever, quippy, snappy dialogue between a bunch of characters, but it doesn't necessarily fit who they are. If you really stop to think about it for a second, these characters and how they sound, when you're doing humor and it's coming from the characters, it still has to be grounded in how they are, what their personalities are, what does it say about them? They're funny. The Daredevil Matt Murdock can be funny, but he wouldn't, but not in a fart joke level. He's. And it wouldn't, Captain America is not one to, be witty bantering back and forth in the middle of a fight. It's just not him. So it's harder than you think, but it's important because, at least it's important to me, because I feel like when I write these characters, when I write these books, what I like to do, and I pulled this probably from Joss Whedon as much as anybody else, as was anything else. Serious, funny. Oh, funny thing. Okay, cool. I'm relaxing now. You're funny. I'm relaxed. Oh God, suddenly you turn the page and some things just suddenly change. And I love keeping you off balance that way as a reader. I think it's important to do that.
Gary, you should tell him the thing you loved about him and Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was just going to do that. I loved how they, in the Daredevil Spidey combo, they each just hate working with each other because he rushes in. But the best part about it is so many people bitch about Spidey's he just won't shut up, and it just drives them crazy. For Daredevil, it literally messes up his senses of being able to track everything. So it's like even more than just shut up, just shut up.
That's and again, that's humor coming from the character. That joke doesn't make any sense unless you realize that Daredevil depends so heavily on his sense of hearing.
Yeah. It was that was just a great setup.
Thank you.
You did do quips well there, so
thank you.
And also one more is that what a wonderful saga reference you slipped in there in your Daredevil run. That Lion Cat says you're lying. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Daredevil is a saga fan. That's amazing.
Daredevil reads saga, you bet. So
of course,
as all good people should.
Absolutely. So just wanted to say that your Daredevil from the end of the first arc. Oh, well, the end of the first series, which is issue 36, and then with you and Chris Samney did, where it's Matt Murdock, it's San Francisco, like just great. You know, like, and then the second you guys ended, I tried, and I was like, no, I can't. I was like, I don't mind Dark Daredevil, but after I've had fun swashbuckling Daredevil, I was like, I can't go. I'm done. I'm move on.
I love it how Daredevil compared Captain America's shield to a Stradivarius. I thought,
that was like holding Babe Ruth's bat. I mean, it really is so iconic.
Yeah. Just on the opposite side of the humor, though, you also captured like that bus scene with the blind kids, and you know, after the crash, like the kids asking what happened to the bus driver. You know, you said so much and so little there. It was definitely very touching.
Thank you. I that was the one that won the Eisner Award. God bless him. So I'm, you know, in large part because Paulo Rivera drew it. In large part because Paulo drew it. But no one would remember that comic if it were drawn by some generic hack. So, but again, I want to give you a wide as possible range of emotions when you read my work than just quippy banter or just dark. I think it's important to switch it up.
Totally.
Yeah. Now you mentioned your sorry, go Carrie.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know we are running on time, so we'll start wrapping things up. But you mentioned you are still reading. What's something you've read recently that you'd recommend?
I like what Chip Zdarsky's doing in Batman.
Nice.
So does Leo.
I love Jason Aaron's work on Action Comics Superman. I really like what Philip Kennedy Johnson does. It's hard for me to say specific books. It's more because I'm more likely to tell you writers that I follow. And of course, anything Grant Morrison writes, I'm all over. But a lot of good people out there doing comics right now, and I'm enjoying the DC line more than I have in an awful long time.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, totally agree. Like Zdarsky's Batman, except for that one where like the whole Bat family was against him, and Catwoman was had the training class.
Yeah.
That threw me a little bit, but other than that, everything's been awesome.
It's a comic book, Leo.
I know it's
deep breaths.
Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. But all those people. Tom Taylor also, is Tom Taylor's work is great. There's just and that's just the DC pond. I mean, in terms of alternate stuff, Firepower by Somni and Kirkman was great. Stuff I would look forward to every month. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I try to sample as much as I possibly can, because you never know when you're going to see something that you go, oh, that's a trick I should put in my back pocket.
Yeah. So one thing is, I know you're going to be at this year. You're going to be at Terrificon. We're also going to be there. So, shameless plug, everyone. Yes. Cons and whatnot. So sometimes I know that some creators have like a love-hate relationship going to conventions and such. I understand for some it's the crowd, and some it's just panels and us asking you random things that you did 40 years ago. You're like, yes, sure, yeah, I did that. Yeah. What's that like for you? I mean, again, you started as a fan, and now you have a table. People will bring books and say how much they love your work, or I don't know. I hope no one's ever told you to go to hell, but I mean, sorry for them.
Only once, and the rest of the crowd took care of them before I could say anything. So
cool. There you go. What's con experience like for you? I mean,
the negatives are very small. The negatives are you have to be on the moment you step out of your hotel room. Mm-hmm. And be happy and shiny and bright no matter what's going on in your life. And that energy that it takes to be that way all day at a convention. When I was younger, I could go drinking afterwards, and now I'm at the point where I just when that convention floor clears, I go back to my room and I just face plant. because it's just so much energy you put into, hey, how you doing? You enjoying the show? Great. Tell me more about you.
Right.
But that's a minor thing. I mean, the fun part is having people come up, talk about how your work meant something to them, or if they observe something in your work that you hadn't observed, or have some insight into the way you write that you hadn't really thought about. Those are always fun. Or cosplayers who are dressed like your characters are great. It's fun. I like meeting the fans. I don't like doing it for 8 hours at a time. I got to get up and buy some comics at some point. But I do like that.
Do you need us to bring you by a coffee or anything halfway through the day? Get you through.
Most people know to bring me a Diet Coke at some point, or else I'm going to go homicidal. Yes.
Got it. Diet Coke for Mark Waid, everybody. Remember.
It is Terrificon. We could also do a Pepe slice. So.
Oh, we could bring him pizza and a Diet Coke. Be like, Daredevil sent his regards.
This pizza's impossible to eat when you're behind the table, signing stuff because it's all slimy and.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get anybody's books all slab.
Yeah, Leo, we don't just stick to the Diet Coke. This news, we'll give him a straw too, so it doesn't knocking it over.
No one wants to see me eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while I'm signing their Avengers comics. No.
You never know. You never know.
They have CGC standing beside them. Look,
he did it. I've been lucky enough to autograph a baby once. That was fun.
Really?
Yeah. I just signed my baby. Okay, great.
They went and got it tattooed afterwards.
Well, no. Then there were also two other people in my vast career that have had me autograph their arm or whatever, and they've turned that into a tattoo. So there are at least two people out there with my signature as one of their tattoos, which is a little weird, but to each their own. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just wonder what they did with the baby afterwards.
I don't know.
Dip it in plastic.
They seem like they were kind people. They seemed like they were, they didn't seem like I should call child services.
Yeah. Just like I was like, you get the kid Ricky Bobby? I was like, wow. All right. Well, I don't know, Leo. Do you have any lingering questions?
I do, but I want to be respectful of the time.
I can give you a few more minutes.
Leo, go.
Last question is: I've read that you introduced Speed Force into the Flash. How did that come about?
I was working with my editor, Brian Augustin, who was also my best friend. R.I.P. I'm going to see Brian. Pour one out for Brian. And we talked about the Flash constantly when I was working on that book. It was just a constant, we'd call each other up, talk every day about the stories, the characters and stuff. And one day I got it in my head. I was just kind of curious. And this gets back to what I said about writing the characters from inside and really understanding the characters. Is I like to really think about what the world looks like to them, or how, if you have these abilities and these powers, how does that affect your everyday life? What kind of stuff do you see? What kind of stuff, how is it different than a normal human being? And I somehow got it in my head, I wonder what Wally sees when he passes the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
What registers on his eyes once you pass the speed of light? And that led into breaking the light barrier, and that led into something being on the other side of that. And before we knew it, we had, in 10 minutes, we come up with something called the Speed Force, which at the time was a very poorly named thing because everybody just thought it was a knockoff of the Force. But it is a name that actually is interestingly aged quite well, apparently.
Oh, totally.
No, it really has.
So actually, I had one other small question. So you've written so many characters. Because a lot of your stories have been adapted, and other people have brought your stories to life. Tower of Babel being an example that just sprung in my mind. But characters like Impulse that you helped co-create with like Humberto Ramos and whatnot. When you hear other people do the characters of the voice, do they sound like what the character sounds like in your head? So.
I've never, some people come very close. I've never seen anybody get Bart Allen completely right, but very close. There are other times when you just, you resign yourself to the fact that you've lost that character and that character's not going to sound like it. but you're playing in a sandbox. You're playing in a toy box where everybody gets to share. So you just have to do your best work and do your best work on the characters that you have, and then have to somehow let that go when you're done. Right. I find it really irritating and disrespectful when writers go on at great angry length about the fact that something they wrote 20 years ago doesn't sound like that character anymore, and doesn't, that my character would never do that, and so forth and so on. Well, probably so, but you got to let it go.
Yeah.
You just got to let it go. That's part of being in this job. I'm sure that when I took over Flash, or when I took over Captain America, or when I took over whatever I've taken over, I'm sure there are things about those books that I didn't do, like the previous writer, that probably rankled some people. It's just the way it works. You're working in a shared toy box.
That was so hard. That's actually something that my mother was asking me about, because I was talking about this podcast that we were doing, and how many different things that you'd written, and she was just like, how do you have somebody that writes, once somebody makes a character, don't they just own them? And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You have writers that direct. I'm like, sometimes there's multiple versions of the same character being written at the same time, and it confused her so much. And I was just like, trying to explain. She gets some stuff, but
that's the work for hire of it all. But again, you just have to put your head down and just keep working, and don't bitch and moan about what the past has, just look forward. It's when you're writing a series, when you stop writing a series, it's like seeing an old girlfriend when you get the next issue. It's like, this is weird. It's hard for me to read anything right after I've written it, right? Because again, it feels like you're seeing an old girlfriend, and it's strange.
Fair enough.
All right. What was the question about? Do we need a Mark Waid Captain Carrot?
Oh, yeah.
Let's roll back 50 minutes to my statement about how my cutoff point is 1978. So, Captain Carrot, cool character, no emotional investment whatsoever.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sorry, Justin.
Sorry, maybe next time, buddy. All right, guys, I think I'm good. I think Leo.
No, I think we're good. We'll wrap things up for you. And just want to remind everybody, plenty of show left, so definitely stay tuned. And Mark, first, I want to thank you again for World's Finest. Everything you've written, previous is amazing, but World's Finest, I'm a huge Batman fan, and I'm loving what Chip's doing, but Batman's become too complicated. Bringing everything back, I'm loving it. Absolutely. I just had to thank you again. But with that being said, where do you like people interacting with you on social media?
Because I'm old, there's a Facebook page, but that I only use really just to look at and see who died. It's like an obituary page at this point. I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky, where you can find me, and Instagram, where some idiot took the name Mark Waid, so I'm stuck with Waid Mark, but you can find me there. I don't spend as much time with social media and on social media as I would like, but you can find me on occasion.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm on Blue Sky myself, and it just opened up to the public. So, definitely everybody, go check that out, follow you. And
not so fast, Nazis, but everybody else.
Hey.
And we'll definitely make sure we stop by to see you at Terrificon. We're going to have our booth right outside the panel room. So,
okay.
Awesome. We'll let you go, Mark. Thank you again for this evening and your time. And it was an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much for the thing.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wrong button. There we go.
Wrong button.
Wrong button. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, man. I'm shaking.
Should we talk about the Super Bowl?
I need to say that I think that is the most fanboy I've ever seen Leo.
Leo.
I need to credit that. Now this means that we have to complete the trifecta. So, Carrie, I'm going to try for Neil Gaiman next time, because then you will lose.
Oh my God.
I'm going to try for that. And this Jar, we might have David Thorne Wenzel on the show at some point. So I know you'll go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on that again.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but I've met him like 5 times now.
Yeah,
give me a Tom King in here, and we'll
listen.
talk about
I would gladly have that.
See the whole panel go crazy.
I mean, you all saw how how excited I was when we had Tony Harris on. I was like,
oh yeah,
oh boy. I was like, oh boy, this is my boy Tony. I'm like, oh hey.
So still a bunch of people watching, and we still have some comic news to go through.
They're watching. We have to do news.
We do.
This is the after show.
I was like, why am I going to after mode? There's still like 30 damn minutes.
Cigarette yet.
So everybody watching, we do this live every Tuesday.
30 minutes.
We do this live every Tuesday. We try to have guests every Tuesday as well. So so we are going. Let me find the right button here.
Button.
Button. Not the
this Captain. Engage.
Yeah. Oh, don't say that because you'll shut my lights off. Actually, you turn them on.
Engage.
Yeah, I have my lights programmed to say engage, and shields down actually turns them off. So,
shields down.
Shields down. Damn it, doesn't work. Jeremy, go with the
the family that sticks together, sticks together faces danger together. Starting from next month, brace yourselves for an intensive bloodbath as Marvel's ongoing symbiote series, Venom and Carnage, come together for an electrifying new storyline called Symbiosis Necrosis.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah. This gripping 4-part crossover will span over 4 issues, 31 and 32 of Venom, and 5 and 6 of Carnage. Today, fans get a glimpse of all the key characters on captivating cover by renowned artist Ken Lashley, featuring Venom, Eddie Brock in his updated appearance, Venom Dylan Brock, Carnage in the menacing Meridius. This interconnected artwork sets the stage for an unforgettable saga. Now, I missed that. Oh, I just deleted that.
No worries. You want me to cycle through the pictures, or you're going to go one by one?
You can cycle through 31, 32. They're all done by Ken Lashley.
Oh, and these are all interlocking, you said?
Yeah, they're.
Yeah. It's one big.
Sweet.
Everybody loves the gimmick.
There's too many goddamn symbiotes again.
There really is. They need to do like an ultimate end.
Yeah, they just got to. I was like they were like, oh, there's another variant. I'm like, why? Why are there so many? There used to be just 2. Yeah. I'm fine.
Kid Venom.
And
Big Venom.
There's anti-Venom too, and all the others.
And there's Mommy Venom and Sister Venom and Grandma Venom and Sherry Venom.
If you think that's too many Venom, play the new Spider-Man game.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, the end levels. The symbiotes have taken over all of New York, and you have symbiotes all over the place.
Oh god. Okay, Leo. Can we?
I know what sells over there at Marvel.
All right,
I wonder what Dawn soap does to him.
Hold on, Leo. I'll make this easy. Next.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, Marvel Comics has unveiled artist Russell Dodderman's wraparound variant cover for the premiere installment of the X-Men 97 limited series. Penned by Steve Fox and illustrated by Salva Espen, the X-Men 97 comic is set to debut in late March, serving as a precursor to Marvel Studios' upcoming Disney Plus animated series of the same name. Dodderman's wraparound cover for issue 1 showcased the beloved characters from X-Men, the animated series, in their nostalgic 90s attire. The ensemble cast features Cyclops, Jubilee, Jean Grey, Bishop, Beast, Rogue, Gambit, Storm, and Wolverine. And yeah, that should be coming. Oh,
March 27th.
Yeah, March.
Oh, you know what that means? You need to do the theme song again.
Banana. then you got the. We're good. Can we go next, please?
Oh, love it, love it, love it. More Blood Hunt.
Oh, there's just so much more. All right, Marvel Comics continues to impress with its series of unveiling new foil covers, and today we're treated to a sneak peek at Javier Fernandez Blood Hunt variant. Marvel is pulling out all the stops for this upcoming event, which is penned by Jed McKay and illustrated by Pepe Larraz, offering multiple variant covers, along with an R-rated polybag version.
Yeah, that's the red band stuff we talked about last week, remember?
Highly anticipated for May the 1st, ladies and gentlemen. Is it?
I still don't care.
I'm trying to think what Marvel would consider R-rated.
They have max rating.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. More, you know what? It's just gonna be more blood and
audience X.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's vampires. They could add sexy stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Justin. Hard pass.
Yeah,
like I'm good.
DC did it, and it wasn't that good too. So,
well, trust me, there's so much more. There's so much more coming.
I'm still kind of sad that we're doing foil covers again, at least at this level of how much they're doing them now.
It's getting a little much again.
Yeah, it's very much 90s downfall. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to be the downfall of comics, but my God, people, can we? How about two variants to a comic?
Well, I think we may be on the precipice because, like we mentioned previously, some recent comics have been selling out. So maybe we have, investors buying into comics again. So maybe it's the 90s all over again.
Nah, I don't think so. I would hope nobody makes it that bad.
Hey, Leo, you know what the 90s called? You know what they said? They said next.
Oh, okay. This is kind of a long one. All right. So Marvel Comics is honoring Women's History Month by showcasing the prominent female characters of Star Wars universe through a series of variant covers. Through March, Marvel's Women's History Month variant covers will grace the pages of various Star Wars titles. Celebration begins on March 6th with Jan Duursema's variant cover for Star Wars 44, spotlighting Mon Mothma. On March 13th, Rey Skywalker takes a spotlight on Marguerite Sauvage's variant for Star Wars Darth Vader number 44. While Tinra Pamlo is featured on Karen Darbo's variant for Star Wars Mace Windu number 2.
Mm-hmm.
March 20th sees the release of 3 more titles with Women's History Month covers. Rose Tico shines on Aka's cover art for the Star Wars Jango Fett number 1. Ahsoka Tano is showcased on Betsy Cola's variant for Star Wars The High Republic number 5. And Fennec Shand graces Annie Wu's variant for Star Wars Thrawn Alliance number 3.
Nice.
Wrapping up the month, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi number 6 hits comic shops on March 27th, featuring Stephanie Hahn's variant cover spotlighting Omega from the Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Nice. Okay.
And there you go, people.
Omega?
Nice. Okay.
I never watched The Bad Batch, so I have no idea who Omega is.
I know some of these people.
Yeah, so Omega is another clone, but essentially...
does she have a New Zealand accent?
She does.
She better.
She does. Essentially, she's like Boba's sister.
Huh.
Because she was made.
Is she a younger?
She's younger during Bad Batch. So Bad Batch is after Order 66. So I would say she was probably born around like Order 66. So yeah, and so she grew up what was that clone world? The water world.
Yeah. Something cis.
Yeah. It's not Genesis.
Genosis, yeah.
Genosis.
Isn't it?
I think Genosis was like the bug arena one.
Was that the bug arena one?
Well, anyway, she is not.
Yeah, it's not Tatooine.
Drew, wake up. She was not. She was not aged like the other clones. So just like Boba, she was cloned and allowed to, grow naturally.
Is she a bounty hunter like Boba?
No, she's still a kid, just learning. She's going on adventures with the Bad Batch.
That seems so irresponsible.
Leo, go to next. The Force commands it.
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views, in the pages heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun as heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comics News.
Excelsior!
I hate all of you.
I love you, Drew.
I regret ever making that joke to Carrie. Fucking
and Jar Jar, I know I need to add your audio in there.
Don't worry about it, Leo. I'm
fucking goth ass tattletale.
It's not like you're the only one who's made the joke. We're all of the,
This doesn't look like a comic book. What is this? What is this?
A comic book.
Because we're really smart.
All right, Leo. I know this is you.
Yeah. Yeah. We love you, Drew. Justin said, "Cool Star Wars covers." Totally agree. Okay, so let me move my notes over just a little bit. So Marvel Entertainment is thrilled, I tell you, to unveil the captivating official cover art for cover art for Breaking the Dark, a Jessica Jones Marvel crime novel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's by acclaimed author Lisa Joel. This announcement comes on the heels of Hyperion Avenue's exciting launch of Marvel Crime in August 2023. A bold new adventure into adult fiction novels that spotlight the gritty adventures of Marvel Comics' beloved street-level superheroes. Breaking the Dark marks the inaugural entry into this series, set to hit bookstores early July. So Marvel fans will be treated with a glimpse of both the US and the UK edition covers, published by Hyperion and Penguin Random House UK, respectively. Each cover art masterfully captures the shadowy noir essence of Jessica Jones, setting the stage for a thrilling narrative dive into the heart of Marvel's noir universe.
Good Lord.
I know. That's a pretty sweet cover.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing is that with this story, you're going to have Jessica Jones out of her element because she's not going to be in New York. She's actually going to be traveling to the UK. So it's going to be interesting, seeing her out of her metaphorical element.
Who's going to be the big bad?
That's
always my question. The villain really makes or breaks a story for me.
Well, this also is taking place in between, I guess, some of her Alias work in between that, and then when she and Luke Cage met and they got together, and then she would eventually have his kid. So, because I know there's also another novel that they're working on that's in that same storyline that's going to be Luke Cage, and then another one that's going to be Daredevil. So, yeah, so it's basically they're kind of doing like what Netflix did with the street level Marvel, Daredevil.
Leaving an Iron Fist out for some reason.
Absolutely, no, we're not doing that. We're not.
Come on,
Danny ran 3 times.
Okay. Just leave it for the new Marvel series.
There you go. Exactly. So, yep. So July. That's July, right?
July, yeah.
Nice. All right. Hey, listen. Some people prefer reading versus comics.
Yeah, and like Mark said, he said two of the best Superman storylines were actual novels.
Yeah. So hey, whatever works.
Hey,
All right,
Kyle, how's it going?
Hey,
so what? Hey, what do you got next, Leo?
Got me going on here. So Garth Ennis is dragging us into the Vietnam War back in 1971 in his new comic Get Fury. When the Viet Cong capture Nick Fury, the CIA feel the need to get involved in order to prevent Fury from letting loose secrets that could destroy the United States. Rather than sending out a rescue team, though, they grab Marine Lieutenant Frank Castle and send him out on an assassination mission in this 5-issue miniseries. This is max rated, what we were talking about before, unsurprisingly, because there's a lot of violence going on here. And not only are they two very violent characters, but it's being dropped into the Vietnam War. Jason Burrows, who is the artist on the series, put a lot of research into the proper feel of the time and considered it to be a fun challenge. Joining Ennis and Burrows is Dave Johnson doing the covers, and Get Fury will be released on May 1st.
Oh man, just Garth Ennis really just loves going back to war. I mean, he did Born, which was the Frank Castle Vietnam origin story years ago, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have this. I mean, gosh, what a great story. And on top of it, just kind of coming back to his Max series, which was pretty great from what I remember. Just God, man, just keep doing the thing, man. Marvel, just keep letting Garth Ennis do his thing. Like, I feel like few people really write the Punisher as well as he does, in my opinion.
It's weird to me that they send him to assassinate him rather than trying to rescue Fury at all. But
it was the 70s, and plus, if you're going to send anybody in Vietnam, it's got to be Frank.
Got to be Frank.
Yeah.
Like even Leo, with his pacifist ways, would be like, "Yeah, you're sending in the Punisher."
Oh yeah, fuck yeah,
fuck yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, what a great team, and then plus you got Dave Johnson's covers are always so just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Go, bro. All right, next. Oh, this is one of mine. I'm super pumped by this. This is another one of those awesome Image books coming out. So Image has announced Ain't No Grave, which is a macabre Western fantasy tale that has a former outlaw up against death himself. This 5-issue miniseries will be by writer Scotty Young and artist Jorge Corona. They're the same team behind the Bram Stoker Award-nominated The Me You Love in the Dark. So this book has been described as Unforgiven-style journey through a Guillermo del Toro-esque lens. So the official synopsis is, writer put her violent past behind her when she fell in love and became a mother. That was before she learned it was all going to be taken away. Now she'll have to pick up her guns once again and ride to kill the one behind the threat, who just happens to be death.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's just a dark fantasy story wrapped up in a classic Western. Honestly, Scotty Young is just a superb writer. I usually have anything that he writes. This is just another in the long line of great Image books that we've been seeing. And I mean, I feel like these kind of things are why I'm not really reading that much Marvel and DC, because this is just new, awesome territory told in enough of a format where you get everything. It's not too short, it's not too long, it's just exactly what you need. Ooh. So that the issue 1 goes on sale May 8th from Image Comics.
Nice. You mentioned that they did the Me You Love in the Dark. I read that recently, and you're right. Scotty Young can do no wrong.
What haven't you read, Carrie? God damn.
Whoa. Don't ask that question. I've seen the list. Okay, I've seen her reading list.
I scroll for like an hour as I'm going through. Which one do I need?
I just love it that Westerns are back. Like, Westerns have been big last year or so.
I feel like what it is, Leo, it's just the genre that will always come and go.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with martial arts movies.
Yeah.
They always ebb and flow. You know what I mean? And it's
the early 2000s we had quite a few Western, like East of West was going on. God damn. Image had quite a few going. Yeah, Scalp too. Yeah.
So
we missed this.
Fury with a snake. They'd say,
get Leo Pond. Stat.
Now, just imagine if that was that case. No, Leo, but Leo would look more like Snake Plissken from. You just show up. It was like, "You're gonna kill me. I'll kill you, but I'm just."
Are you missing an eye? No,
exactly.
No, I just like to wear the patch.
Yeah, I'll kill you later. I've got to watch my show with my wife.
Speaking of Patch, looks like Patch is making an appearance in the Deadpool trailer.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna get to that. Let's get to the news. Let's get to the news, and then we can spend.
I don't want to. You know me. I go off topic. Yeah. So
sad news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, unfortunately, the comic book world mourns the loss of Jose Delbo, an esteemed artist who left an indelible mark on the industry, passing away at age 90.
Yeah.
So Delbo's career spanned a remarkable 7 decades. Is best remembered for his contributions to Wonder Woman and Transformers.
Right.
Delbo's exceptional talent first blossomed in Argentina with Pancho Negro and continued to flourish in the United States with Billy the Kid for Charlton Comics and a variety of TV adaptations for Dell Comics. His foray into the superhero genre with DC Comics saw him take the reins for Wonder Woman in 1975, a title he would shape until the early 80s. His depiction of the Amazonian warrior resonated deeply with fans and is celebrated for capturing the strength and grace of Wonder Woman during a pivotal era for the character. So the late 80s marked Delbo's venture into the world of robots in disguise with the Transformers. So where he brought the Autobots and Decepticons to life in that series, fans revered for its action-packed and emotionally resonant storytelling. The 80s was so good for Transformers. His collaborative creation with Brute Force and work on titles like Captain Planet and NFL Super Pro further showcases versatility and continued to entertain readers across generations.
NFL Super Pro?
Yeah.
Gotta get you number one of those.
And also, Leo, for Jeremy's sake, he also did first draw the Thundercat series before he did Transformers. So,
that's have you seen the prices on that book? I can't even touch it.
On the new one?
No, the old one, Thundercats. The Marvel Star Comics, I think, put it out.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, Star Comics. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
If I had time, I'd go over to the eBay and throw you together something. But we're in the news.
Yeah, we're in the news cycle. Wow, look at that. This is some nice work. Yeah. Is that some of his NFTs?
Yeah, those are two of his NFTs that he was putting together during COVID. So, I mean, like, he's been active through.
Yeah, so Delbo's later years were marked with his dedication to nurturing future talents at the Kubert School and his pioneering foray into the digital art space through NFTs.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I met him at a Terrificon or something.
Something like that. But I mean, you gotta love when people like that are sitting. I mean, come on, Denny O'Neil was still writing things up until his passing, and he was also in his 90s, like late 80s, 90s. So I mean, good on him, man. Just keep going. So
I think all right, there in 2019 when you were saying that, Jeremy.
Yeah. But, all right. Yeah. Wow. So what's next?
Robert Liefeld, ladies and gentlemen, shed a tear. Rob Liefeld has announced his departure from working on Deadpool, at least for the foreseeable future. Taking to Twitter, the creator revealed that he will no longer be involved in drawing or writing the character after completing one final story. This concluding tale is set to debut in the summer of 2024. The news comes as a surprise, given Liefeld's prolific involvement with Deadpool at Marvel Comics over the past few years, including creating variant covers and contributing to the sequel series Deadpool Batter Blood.
Yeah.
But why step away from a character he's been intimately connected to and co-created? Liefeld explained that at the age of 57, he wants to conclude his Deadpool journey while his eyesight and artistic abilities are still at their peak. He expressed gratitude to his fans for their unwavering support and promised to delve further into his decision on his upcoming Robservations podcast. So check that out. And Liefeld looks forward to sharing the next chapter with his dedicated fans, whom he considers the best support a cartoonist could ask for. But yeah, that's the end.
Hey, listen,
I don't know if that means like he won't do commissions of Deadpool now.
No, he's
like
probably
that.
still going to do commissions, but I just don't think he's going to be doing
no more Marvel work.
No more books, you know.
He no longer wants to give Daredevil his maximum effort.
No, he no longer wants to do any of that. So, all right. Okay.
Deadpool, right?
I mean, listen, the man's just going out on top. And I just think I can respect that because, you know, again, there's nothing worse than you see somebody who's just past their peak and it's just...
We don't have to say his name.
Yeah. Yep. Moving on.
So, Jonathan Hickman, along with artist Sanford Green, is going to be bringing us Doom #1 on May 15th. In this tale, Dr. Doom, teamed up with Valeria Richards, takes on Galactus. It is up to them to save the universe. Green has really wanted to work on Doom for a very long time. It was on his bucket list, and he pitched the story to Hickman as he felt him to be the best writer possible for the story. Those two have worked together for forever, so he was just like, well, yeah. And he sees it as his love letter not only to Dr. Doom, but to Marvel as well, as he considers Dr. Doom to be the center of the Marvel Universe. There is some speculation as to whether or not this is going to fall into the same universes as Marvel's The End, or possibly the Timeless series, but as of yet, this is still unknown. And again, you can pick this up on May 15th.
I love the end stories. Those are usually pretty good, man.
I don't like that font. It looks very 90s, to tell you the truth. It looks like Doom Patrol or something.
Justin. So he says, you see, Leo, it's the 4 friends who traveled on a rocket to space. But
Jesus Christ. You know who the Fantastic Four are, right, Leo?
You know, it's a running joke on Comics Paradox because I didn't have a full knowledge of the Fantastic Four introduction. So.
It's still kind of. I know there's so many comics and stuff that I'm completely like unaware of, but like the Fantastic Four, I'm just like, how'd you miss that as a kid?
I just
ask questions.
I just did.
This isn't the first time that Doom saved the world either. You know, at least tried to. So.
Doom's always trying to save the world.
Doom's always trying to save the world, and either he does it and is gloating, dooms the world, no pun intended, or his efforts save the world, but you know, it's not exactly.
I mean, the man's running a country. Give him a break.
Yeah. All right, whatever. So Doom #1, man, coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Drew's getting tired, so we'll try to speed things up here.
Oh, Drew.
Shut up. Oh, yeah. So this is me because apparently since Drew does the news, he gets to pick the ones he likes the best. So we are seeing here the first sign of Ultimate Bullseye. So this is thanks to Marco Cicchetto, who's the artist right now for Ultimate Spider-Man. So he's seeing here Bullseye, who appears to be kind of looks like a Power Ranger a little bit. He's got the helmet, blue glowing eyes. And we see him here grappling with what appears to be Spider-Man and the new Ultimate Green Goblin. So essentially we're assuming that since the Ultimate Universe is selling like hotcakes right now, so I would recommend if you're interested, put in to your LCS to get this one, because these books are selling out before they're even in the store. Mm-hmm. So Ultimate Bullseye could be different, could be not. It's great that it's in the Spider-Man, but the big question is, will there ever be an Ultimate Daredevil again to face this Bullseye, and will he like Spider-Man? Because as Carrie and me know, Ultimate Daredevil didn't really like Spider-Man back in the day. Not a fan. Not a fan. So that will be coming out, I believe sometime in March. So Ultimate Bullseye, catch it out.
Okay, and Bullseye pictures leaked for him in the upcoming Daredevil.
Yeah, he's gonna get a new costume, right?
Yeah, either that or it's like a starter costume or something like that. Looked pretty basic.
Yeah, well, just as long as it's not the Colin Farrell, leather jacket, bullseye in his head. Yeah. I mean, listen, I make the jokes, but killing somebody with a paperclip was still pretty cool. I'm gonna say that. That's still pretty cool. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, so how many pictures? Oh,
they're doing separation anxiety again.
Yeah, so Marvel Comics is set to expand its universe this May with the launch of Venom Separation Anxiety, a gripping 5-issue limited series that reunites Venom co-creator David Michelini with the illustrious Death of the Venomverse artist Gerardo Sandoval.
Nicely done, Leo.
Thank you. So this eagerly anticipated series introduces a thrilling confrontation between Venom, the lethal protector, and the infamous Zebediah Killgrave. So also known as the Purple Man, a villain with deep ties to the Marvel Universe, notably as one of Jessica Jones' most formidable foes.
Mm-hmm.
So the first issue boasts a stunning cover by Paulo Seguera, which serves as a tribute to Charles Vess's legendary cover art for 1984's Web of Spider-Man #1. Oh, yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do see that now.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I still don't think they using separation anxiety is a good. They already did that. They already did it.
Yeah.
Leo.
Yeah. So intertwining the past and present of Marvel storytelling, the series promises to delve into the darker corners of the Marvel universe, providing a can't-miss chapter for fans of Venom. There we go.
Fans of Venom.
Fans of Venom.
Fans of Venom. Venom shoes.
New from DC.
And
oh, Marvel. My bad.
Well, it's just kind of really interesting to think, like, again, Killgrave being a character, you forget how formidable he is. So, I mean, come on, him fucking up with Eddie Brock and Venom, and this is back in those days when there was Eddie Brock and Venom. Man, that could be something really cool. And then David Michelini, I mean, he did such great work with Spider-Man back in the heyday. It's just always nice to see him putting out good stuff again.
Well, also to tribute to the Web of Spider-Man cover, like, I really haven't seen, they've done a lot of tributes. I haven't really seen a tribute.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm so done with seeing a million variations of the famous Todd McFarlane web slinging.
300?
Yeah, the 300. Yeah, I was just like, oh my God, I'm good. We got it. He web slings.
Everybody web slings.
I have that issue, Web of Spider-Man #1. I wonder if it's worth anything.
It is.
$5.
$5? Okay.
$5.
No, more than that.
Jar Jar, when you come down to help me move, I need to have you go through my comics.
Now I have to come.
Oh, now.
Like, I love going through other people's collections.
Yeah, it's called rating.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. I just, the history and stuff of books and stuff, and not knowing what you're actually going to find, like,
Just take one of his 42 covers and see if he notices.
Yeah, for those who watch, and I do have 41 copies of X-Men #1.
And none of them are signed.
None of them are
signed. What? I'm sorry. I'm fine. I mean, you could at Terrific Con. Jim Lee's going to be there.
Ooh.
You know, all right.
Yeah. How much is his signature?
Could you sign 41 copies of the same book for me, please?
I'm not a scalper. I'm just
no. It's not the same book. I have multiple copies.
There's
of all
5
the
different covers.
So how many do you have of each one?
I think it's 6 different covers because you have the
gatefold is the one that's all of them.
Yeah, you have the gatefold, or maybe it is 5.
Next.
Yeah, I think there's 4 interlocking ones, and then the 5th one's the gatefold that opens up and has them all kind of connected already.
Yep. You know what? When you're here,
we'll
find out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. All right. So, because the Ultimate Universe is the new Hansel, as in it's so hot right now, they released a sneak peek about some of the covers that were for the May releases of Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, and Ultimate Black Panther. So the first one up is Ultimate X-Men issue 3, where we see the origin of May Storm. She was just a normal person, and then suddenly one day hair changes from brown to white, and then suddenly she can do the amazing things that she can. And then also how she came to idolize a mysterious freedom fighter in Africa who also harnesses the power of the storm. That'll be in stores May 15th. That's written and drawn by Peach Momoko. The next one is Black Panther. I believe that's issue 4. We see this one. Shuri seizes the throne. T'Challa is missing. Wakanda needs a leader. Shuri is going to assume the throne and then take her personal desire for war against Ra and Khonshu more serious than her brother ever did. And then, of course, meanwhile, Black Panther, who is not dead, spoiler, must learn new things from his new allies, the freedom fighters Killmonger and his girlfriend Storm. So that is also out in May. So check that out. And then, of course, also in May, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 5. Jonathan Hickman will then go into the secret history of Harry Osborn. Spoiler, everybody, in this universe, Harry Osborn is the Green Goblin. But essentially, how does the heir apparent of Osborn become a masked vigilante? Yeah, right. So Ultimate Spider-Man, Hickman is going to be joined by David Messina, while regular series, Marco Cicchetto, doing the dope cover. He'll be back in June for issue 6. So all those will be out in May. Check those out. Super pumped. Cannot wait to read the more of them. And Ultimate.
Very cool. And Chris, to answer your question, yes, this is about comics. That's all we talk about is comics.
We weren't talking about comics. Who invited that kid?
What's that?
We all did, didn't we?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Everybody's welcome here. We're not.
I understand that, but this is like, it's like, oh, you guys talking about comics here? I feel like Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story. Like, who invited that kid? Like,
Tough Woman Lodge in this house. We love all versions of the Goblin.
Even Spider-Man 3 Goblin, because that was kind of still hard to watch.
Totally. And Chris, rewind this issue. We talked to Mark Waid earlier. You can learn a lot of history about comics during that discussion. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I think that's it, right, Leo?
Yeah. Just you want to talk real quick about Daredevil? What do you think of the trailer?
Okay.
Daredevil?
It's Deadpool.
Deadpool.
You're doing that thing when you do the word association. But,
it's been a long day.
It has been. Yes, it has. It's been a long day. Okay, listen.
My friend.
I just need to say.
All about it when I see you again.
Yeah, but I'm gonna see you at Terrificon, buddy. Like, we'll see you then. All right. Whoa.
Or you can come up with Jar Jar and help me.
No.
Gotta get me right.
Yeah. I can't. I feel like I can't see you guys, and then if Carrie isn't there, I mean, I could always make a pillow that has Carrie's face on it, and just bring that there and be like,
Camino was the ocean planet. That's what it was.
What the fuck?
Oh, thanks, Tom Dog.
I think you're right. Genosis was the planet with the insect people.
Yep.
Thing.
Okay, we lost Drew. We lost.
All right, listen. We were talking about the Deadpool trailer.
Yeah.
Listen, it was the best. It was the best trailer of the Super Bowl. And then, although I was like, oh my God, I got to go online to read this other trailer, to watch this other trailer, but it was worth it. It's so good. Can I just say one thing briefly?
Yeah.
I love when you see comic accurate costumes.
Yes.
On character. Like, I completely missed that one guy in the scene was Pyro. And it wasn't just Pyro.
Did?
It was Pyro from X2, which I'm like, oh my God, what continuity. And he looks like the character does in the comic. And I'm just like, he's got the goggles on his neck. He's got this big thing. So I'm so psyched for Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
what about,
it is nice to be excited for a comic movie. It's been a while since I was like, oh, I can't wait to go see this for comic books.
Yeah.
Like Madam Web dropped and like
maybe if I'm drunk. Maybe
if
I'm
it
drunk.
ends up on Pluther, I might.
Yeah, we could.
But I never watched the Venom one, so I don't see why.
Can we do? Hey, Leo, can we just do that? We all just drink and we do a smashed pages to that.
Yeah, we need to do that. Yeah.
Or we'll just take a couple of fun brownies and just be like, we're just gonna watch this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're whip slinging with this lady. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, the trip. Oh, it's a bad trip. Oh boy, we're going down.
I've still never seen Morbius, but Jar Jar, you should give Venom a try.
Really?
Leo. Yeah. Yes, Jar.
I watched the end credit scenes.
Jar,
so
give Venom a try.
Okay.
Leo, don't ever watch Morbius.
Okay.
What about Craven the Hunter?
It's bad. Carrie, I've never been more annoyed as a movie went on than when I was watching Morbius.
I don't think Craven came out yet.
No, Craven hasn't come out yet, but I don't know.
Yeah. Carrie, what do you think of the Deadpool trailer before we wrap up?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I'm super excited. Same with you guys. I'm all about that. We'll have to
Marvel Jesus.
We'll have to figure out a way to long distance watch with everybody. Get a party going. I got a bunch of wine, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we will wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening, and thank you for joining us today. We our guests keep on getting better and better. So big shout out to these awesome peeps here, Drew, Jar Jar, and Carrie, which are knocking it out of the charts with these awesome guests. But you know me, you know how to find me. Just Google me. Without further ado, we'll kick it over to Carrie.
Hey everybody, I'm Drew Mallow. You can find me here. I'm going to bed now. All right.
I hate you so much.
You can catch me. I'm Carrie Sanders. When I'm not here, I'm with the Owlite Network, which is also part of the Dorkening Network. And you can catch me on most Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays doing different shows with different people. And just look up Carrie Sanders on Facebook. If you see a crow, that is me. And all of my links for everything and my author pages I write and stuff too are there. So wrap it over to Jar.
Hey, I'm gonna give my shout outs to Justin Cooper tonight and say check out Tales from the Sewer, which is a TMNT podcast, as well as Leo, what's the Elseworlds and the Batman one you guys do?
Comics Paradox. And
that's all about Elseworld comics and stuff like that.
Yeah. Elseworlds and
What Ifs.
Amalgam and What Ifs, yeah. And then the Dork Knight, which is all about Batman. It's two people that love Batman and one person that doesn't love Batman.
Yes. So check out those podcasts. They're all part of the Dorkening as well. Yeah. And you know how to find me and all that stuff.
There we go. Awesome.
Hi, everybody. I'm not Carrie Sanders right now, but if you want to leave a message, I might respond to you with a book recommendation. Leave a message after the beep. Bye. No, hi everybody. I'm Drew, and I'm exhausted. But when I'm not exhausted, I'm here on the Dorkening. But you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, as it's seen below in a nice ecto green font. I do a lot. I'm a lot of various places doing things and trying to be funny, even though I'm dying inside. But you know the usual. So thanks for joining us, and come by next week when we're going to have our returning guest Keith Champagne talking about his new Kickstarter and a bunch of other stuff. Should be pretty cool. But till then, go the fuck to sleep.
Hey, Drew, could you do me a big favor?
No.
Please.
All right, you said
please.
Fine.
Okay. Can you say that again, but instead of saying next week, say on our next show?
All right, fine.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Drew. And on our next show, we're going to have writer Keith Champagne returning back to Splash Pages. He's going to be talking about his new Kickstarter. And my hair is atrocious. Oh, my God. But still, he's going to be talking about his new Kickstarter. We're going to probably read something else of his. And we're going to also go over some of the recent news in the comic book industry. It should be pretty cool.
Awesome. And Comics Paradox is COMIX. And you can spell the rest. With that, we'll catch you all later. Bye.
Later, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.